Are you tired?
I don't know. I feel like I've been like catching up on sleep for for the past week, and like
Yeah.
I've been sleeping a lot, but still like during the day I'm like I could sleep some more, you know. So I
Yeah.
don't feel tired, but if I were to lay down right now, I'd probably go to sleep.
Yeah,
That makes
it
sense.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
So, like, is it because you're like enjoying your break, or is it just because of how crazy those finals were that you?
Yeah, for me, it's I think just because I'm enjoying it. It's
Mm.
like I'm just home and there's nothing to do, so like I can take naps and like not feel bad. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Power
Yeah.
naps are the best way to
Yes.
go.
Right, exactly. You feel like a new person after. Yeah.
You still do
Yeah.
those push-ups every now and then when you're stressed?
Yeah, I forgot about those.
I just remembered that.
You know, just if I have some energy I need to burn off, like do some push-ups in the middle of any room, anywhere, out in the grocery store.
Oh, really?
At home, yeah.
Like
anywhere.
just at Aldi's or Walmart?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That Duke personality's coming
Yeah.
out.
When people ask me who I am, I say I'm Adam Khan.
There you
go. Yeah.
So I love that. I was thinking about the push-ups thing when you're stressed because of the World Cup.
Oh my
goodness. You saw it. I assume.
did. Yeah. My family's like really like into soccer and stuff. Oh my gosh. I like the finale especially, like I could not breathe. Like I was just screaming. Like I had to walk away from the TV and like close, like look through a little slot in my eyes. I was so nervous.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a great World Cup, I would say. Yeah.
Insane.
Very insane. Yeah.
Like, how did it go from 2-0 Argentina and then all of a sudden 2 goals for France in 2 minutes?
Yeah,
By the same player.
Exactly. I was like, is this really happening? My dad said he like thought Argentina was gonna win for sure, and so then he switched the channels for like 5 minutes, and then he switched it back, and it was 2-2. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I personally am glad that Messi won because
I agree.
Yeah, like Mbappe got one last time, you know, and he has like plenty of time left to keep, you know, winning things. But
he's young.
Yeah.
Younger than Messi,
yes,
I think, right?
just a little.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah.
But it was crazy because my friends Emma were watching it. We were saying that France just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They literally didn't do anything.
No.
And then when the penalty came in, it just gave them like a boost up.
Yeah.
Because right when they did the kickoff after the penalty,
Yeah.
France just had energy out of nowhere.
Yeah.
As if they had like an espresso shot.
Yeah,
like, all
for
of the
sure.
team.
Probably in the locker room they did. Yeah.
It was so insane. And then when it was 3-3 in overtime,
Oh my gosh.
that's when I started doing the push-ups.
Yeah. It's very stressful. That's an appropriate time to do
Exactly.
push-ups. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I've never seen like a final like that.
I don't think we'll ever will.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah. I was like, I think they were saying like France didn't shoot any goals like until like the 70th minute or something like that.
Yep.
I was just, yeah.
Argentina went to sleep for 2 goals.
They did.
For 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the wrong time.
they were up.
I know.
I was going to do the same thing. I was going to close the TV
game.
and just be like, yeah, we're done. Go home. That would have been the worst thing ever, honestly.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, yeah, but it was good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the next one. It's gonna be in the US.
I am too. It was disappointing because like Mbappe scored like literally all 3 goals, or until the penalty kicks, one person did.
Yeah, true.
And then when we were looking at it, we were like, the goalie is nowhere near where he needs to be.
No.
My friend was like talking about the Argentina goalie, and he was like, he's like a chihuahua. Just look at him, and like he was so feisty, and like that guy was like he was on his toes.
Yeah,
all the time,
for sure.
and he got the saves.
Yeah.
So it was so funny watching that.
My brother was saying that like that he likes to like dance when
Yes.
people and then he did it. Like, yeah, I think that's a normal thing to like get people out of their game. Yeah.
Oh, I could see why. It clearly worked.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
We've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Now. A little too long? Is
Yeah,
that...
I think so. I think I need to.
Yeah. Get ready for the next Friends. Yeah.
Just Just kidding.
So we met in middle school. That's probably the first time. Then we went through high school and then college. We didn't get to see each other, but we kind of met during that time too a little bit. And then now you're a medical student.
Yeah.
You are a second year.
I'm a third year now. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Time is flying.
Yeah. It was just like last year. You were second
exactly.
year. So now you're a medical student at Duke University.
Yeah.
Big name. Big name. You don't like it when people
you
give you compliments.
I'm shy.
Exactly. But you're, I have high admiration for you. You know that. I mean, you and Amari, you're a really good friend. You guys have just gone through so much, but somehow you've made it to the end and like truly made a successful path for you and the next generations ahead of you.
Yeah.
So I always try to keep, light conversations because of how much you've done,
Yeah.
There's sometimes you just need to take a break.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this can be a break for you.
For sure.
So tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Trinidad, but I moved to the US when I was really young. I think it was about like 1 or 2. So I don't remember anything from back then, but I moved to Maryland, lived there until I was about 8, and then moved down to Georgia. Since then I've been living there. We went to middle school, high school together. And then I went to undergrad at Georgia State University. And I majored in biology and minored in Spanish there, with kind of like the plans to do pre-med and apply to medical school. And so after graduating, I took a year off, and we worked together at U.S. Neuropathy Centers as medical assistants. That was a lot of fun. So that's what I did during my gap year. And then after that, during that year, I was applying to medical school, and now after that started at Duke. So yeah, I have been living there since then. I'm in my 3rd year now. Back home, I have 2 younger brothers and my parents back home too. So yeah, it's been really nice. It's like the first time that I've been like I've gone away for summers and stuff. It's the first time I'm like living in another state from my family, so that's been an adjustment, but it's been good and not too far away either. But yeah,
which is great.
Yeah,
it's great to hear that you're able to kind of go from that.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of your background, Trinidad. So, are your parents from Trinidad, and did they graduate at any point, or are you the first gen?
Yeah. So, my mom's side of the family and my mom, they're from Trinidad, and then my dad is from St. Croix in the Virgin Islands, and his family is from St. Lucia and Dominica, different places in the Caribbean. So they both went to college, and then they both also got their masters at University of Pittsburgh. No one else in my family has gone to medical school though, or is in like the medical field. Right. So I'll be the first to do that, which has been also an adjustment. But yeah, I think it was very helpful, like having them, even though like I was the first out of my siblings. My parents kind of understood like the college process, but which was really helpful. But now like the medical school process is just like totally different from anything that we've experienced before. Yeah,
which is like amazing, right? Because your full tuition is paid off in medical school. Grant me, there's obviously other parts of it, but that's a huge chunk.
Yeah.
You got a scholarship, right?
So
explain that first of all.
So in the process of applying to medical schools, cost was definitely a big factor in me trying to decide where I wanted to go. And in the end, I was deciding between Duke and Vanderbilt and the Medical College of Georgia. And I really wanted to go to Duke, and I think like financially Duke was making more sense in terms of how much they were willing to give. And I spoke with the admissions director, because he was kind of calling students to see like how they were feeling about the process and like if they had needed any help making a decision. And I told him like my dilemma, and that, you know, cost is like a really big factor. And then they had already given me a lot of financial aid, and I think I was going to have to take out like $15,000 or so a year. And then after that conversation, I got an updated financial aid package from them, and they covered all of my cost of attendance except for like 2,500, which I got covered by a different scholarship. So yeah, when I got that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Duke. Yeah. So yeah, it ended up being like the cheapest option for me, and just like where I really wanted to end up going to. So yeah, I feel like really blessed, and like I did not expect that to happen at all. And I also had like a full scholarship for undergrad too, so it's just like a blessing for me and like my family. And I think just, you know, the fact that I don't have to be in debt and to pursue this career, because I know that's something that like steers a lot of people away from it, and rightfully so, because it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So yeah, I feel very lucky and excited about that. And yeah,
It's amazing. It's such a big part, right?
Yeah.
That is a rare opportunity. So how did you get the scholarship? Like what was, let's talk about the med school one, and then we'll talk about the undergrad one.
Yeah.
Was there applications to it?
Yeah. So for the like scholarship from Duke, they offer some like need-based scholarships. So different schools have different approaches to it. And usually they'll offer like need-based scholarships based on like FAFSA and things like that. And then sometimes they'll have like different merit-based scholarships. So Duke had like a separate scholarship for students from Georgia. They have like different donors who have like different criteria for people who get scholarships. So I got like a mix of scholarships from Duke, and I didn't have to apply for those separately. I just like submitted my financial aid information, and then, you know, talking to them about cost being a barrier helped with that too. And then the $2,500 a year scholarship, actually it's $5,000 a year, is the Ty Cobb Scholarship Foundation. Okay. And they offer scholarships. It's what's the word, like repeat it, like you can reapply for it every year, like resubmit a short application, and they'll just like give you the scholarship multiple years in a row. But it's for, I didn't know about it like until shortly before I was applying, but it's for like any students who are residents of Georgia who are applying to like, I think medical school of any kind, dental school, like any sort of school. Yeah. And it's $5,000 a year, I believe. And yeah, so I submitted an application for that one and got that one too, and that just like covered the rest of it. So yeah, that's one I definitely like tell a lot of like people about all the time, because that one does have a separate application. But yeah.
Were there any criterias for that scholarship, or even the one that you got for like a financial aid package from Duke?
Yeah, I think it was based on like how much, the Duke one was based on like financial need, or like how much your family made, and you know, like if you would be able to afford like medical school, and like how much you would be able to afford essentially. But the Ty Cobb scholarship, I believe the main criteria was that you're a resident of Georgia, and then you have to submit, I think you have to submit like a letter of recommendation, and like every year you have to submit one when you're reapplying. But I have to look into it again, but I think the criteria wasn't much. It was just being a Georgia resident. So,
which is something interesting, right? Because like, yes, medical school is expensive, if anybody hasn't already found that out. But you know, there's so many resources out there. It's just trying to find the right ones to get to apply to you. And I've learned from you and some other people that there's like there's many scholarships out there. But it's really just it's in your benefit. Really, like if you are, I'm not saying poor, but if you're like in a poverty situation where you're below the income household, it works in your favor.
Exactly.
Don't get me wrong. Over long run, that doesn't mean all of a sudden that you're rich, or you know, whatever. Right. But it definitely helps
for sure.
And when I saw that from your perspective, I thought there's got to be more to this story. And so how did you find this information? Did you just go out there and start
Yeah.
Googling?
Yeah, honestly, I looked up like scholarships for medical students, or people applying to medical school, and usually like I literally looked it up on Google, and I think that's how I found that one. I think also at like an information session for Medical College of Georgia, they talked about it too, but I think by then the application had already been due or something like that. But yeah, and or possibly from another resource is the pre-med office. I think I remember the pre-med office at Georgia State mentioning this scholarship too, now that you mention it. And so yeah, definitely like reaching out to your pre-med office about like what scholarships do you know about, because they typically will know about things that you might not be able to find online. So yeah, and then for Duke, I think I just kind of like talked to people and kind of knew from current students at Duke that Duke was the type of place that like, you know, would do everything that they could to like get students to be able to financially afford, or for finances to not be a barrier for them coming. So they I just heard that they did the best that they could, and so definitely went down that route too.
Yeah, and Georgia State in general is a great place because it is in the metro Atlanta area. So they understand that a lot of people coming here are, you know, financially not dependent, really. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Right? Because it does give you an opportunity to figure out what you want to do.
Exactly.
Some schools just don't have the resources out there.
Yeah.
But if you start looking at which schools have that, it's a really good way to go.
Definitely.
And so you said for undergrad too, you said you also got scholarships for that. So how did that go?
Yeah. So the scholarship that I got through my undergrad was a presidential scholarship. And so that was like a Georgia State specific scholarship. And I think they have another one now. I can't remember the name of it, but they still have the presidential scholarship. But during high school, when I was applying to college, I did a similar thing, like looked up scholarships online, and then like for each school I was applying to, like looked up scholarship applications for the school specifically. And so Georgia State had the presidential scholarship, and I remember my mom was like, you really should apply for this. Like, this could be really great. And she like definitely encouraged me to do it. And I was like, you know, what are the odds that I actually get this? Like, I don't know. There's only like a certain number of people each year. But yeah, I ended up getting awarded the presidential scholarship. You had to do like interviews and stuff, but and submit essays. But yeah, definitely like during senior year, or as early as possible, like looking up scholarships on like the school's website specifically, because I think the deadline was like kind of like earlier than I anticipated. So just like making sure you have enough time to submit those things, important.
That's a good way to go, honestly.
Yeah.
Like your undergrad was
a
good set.
Yeah.
I wish you told me that. You know?
Sorry. I didn't know.
I'm stuck here. No, that's great to hear. I think a lot of audience members can benefit from that.
Yeah.
You know, these days it's a struggle to get out there. It really is.
It is. Yeah.
Especially for medical school. It's not easy. You know, there's a lot of times where students are just held back against a wall.
Yeah.
And they feel like they're trapped, you know?
Exactly.
Especially when you don't have like parents who tell you what to do.
Right.
But you're an example of exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
Go Google.
Yeah. Google is very useful sometimes.
It is. Yeah, no joke. So as an undergrad, you know, you're Black, you're female, and you're a minority. You already have so many things stacked up against you.
Yeah.
You know? What type of struggles did you have that you were a little bit worried about, but you kind of struggled through it and were able to be more confident about the way you are? Yeah,
that's a great question. I feel like I was really lucky with, you know, being able to go to Georgia State. Like, I felt like it was such a diverse place that I didn't really like feel super out of place, like in my classes and like with my friends and stuff. And so that was really great. But of course, there's still like those thoughts in the back of your head when you're like, you know, like when I was pursuing medical school or like applying for different scholarships, and like, you know, just having this thought that like when you see the people who are where you want to be and they like don't necessarily look like you, it's like, what are the odds that I will actually make it there? And yeah, just like I feel like that was a thought that, I kind of had to work through. And yeah, like just seeing physicians who didn't look like me, and or like my mentors, weren't always like Black women. And people I spent a lot of time with, like professors and that I worked with, and everything. But I do feel like Georgia State was like, I was very surprised at the number of like just the amount of diversity in the student body. And like lots of my professors were from like a multitude of different places. So that was great. But I think it's always like just like looking at the numbers too, of like how many, like the demographics of physicians in the US and how few Black physicians there are, like those numbers and things, like it's hard not to kind of feel intimidated by that.
Female too.
Yeah,
Black female,
exactly,
right?
exactly. So I think I think it more so came up to like when I was applying to medical school, and like during interviews, and kind of like feeling like when I was interviewing at certain places, I like, these people definitely don't look like me. And also like wondering if my race was potentially something that schools wanted to use to their advantage. And so that was something I also had to like try to filter through schools, and like find schools that genuinely care about the entire student body. And it wasn't like I was just going to be like a token Black student. And the first of, I've heard from lots of people like being the first in a school is like a very challenging thing. And so yeah, I definitely wanted to look for places where the Black community is very strong and supportive, and supported by the school as well. But yeah, I definitely had lots of times where it was like, I feel like I don't have a physician mentor who's Black. Like during my undergrad times, I didn't have one. And like, what are the odds that I will actually make it there? And all the physicians I've had growing up, like none of them have been Black, and all of these things. So yeah.
It's right. It's tough.
Yeah.
The good thing, at least what I see from your following you, is Duke does a great job with that.
Yeah.
They don't just put, like one, like you said, one
Right.
Black minority and just into that situation where you're the golden child.
Yeah.
But they really look at what there is to bring to the table.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of talented people in your class that do that anyways.
Yeah.
No matter of, what ethnicity they are, but
For
they do
sure.
a great job.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's good that you did that. So how did you like scout them out when you're not in medical school? Or go from there?
Yeah. So I think a lot of that comes during like the interview process. And so like once, even beforehand, but especially like once you get an interview somewhere, usually you'll get contact information from students. Usually like during my interview days, I would just like look around at like the current students there and see like what the demographic makeup was, and talk to students then, or get people's like contact information to have like real conversations about it later on. And so, yeah, I think that was like one major way that I went about it. And I think like looking up the statistics of schools and like their demographics, and seeing if it fits with like what you're looking for. And I think some schools also will talk about like percentage of minority faculty, which is also something that kind of shows like what their commitment is to diversity, if they have a diverse faculty. And so like looking into those like statistics and stuff. But I think it's, a lot of it comes from like, how do you feel during the interview, or like different groups, like minority groups have their own like affinity groups within schools. So once, like usually they'll have their own like interview events, and like talking to them like genuinely about their experience and how it's been, and struggles that they've had. And I feel like the more honest that people can be with me about that, like the better I can trust like what they have to say. And yeah, like even if there are things that could be improved, it's like, does the school acknowledge that and like try to work on that? So yeah.
I mean, just being, I know blunt is a hard word because it's an institution at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But you're right. If they are able to at least identify some of the markers that they're like telling you, hey, this is not
Yeah.
right, you know?
Yeah.
Going from there would be a great way to go,
Exactly.
which is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So talking about your background, right?
Mhm.
From the situation that you were in, we had similar childhoods of some
Mhm.
sort. You know?
Yeah.
I didn't go to medical school, but whatever.
Oh
But
gosh.
we weren't dealt with the right cards right in
Mhm.
our hand, right? But that didn't deter you from going to medical school.
Yeah.
Especially you saw the statistics.
Yeah.
It technically wouldn't have been in your favor,
Yeah.
especially in this country in America.
Yeah.
But you still did it, and on top of that, you're thriving. Like
Mhm.
you're succeeding, highly succeeding. So
Oh.
what made you want to do that, even though like even though this
Yeah.
is not really you would think that this would not be in favor for you, but it
Yeah.
is perfectly in favor for you.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, I grew up in a household where like my parents were just like so supportive of us, and like I never felt pressured into going into medicine, and I think that that has been something that has kept me motivated during like the tough times, is like I'm doing this for me, and even if like this somehow doesn't work out, it's like I'm just doing what I need to do. And it's not like people are counting on me or like forcing me into this. It's like I chose to do this, of my own volition. And so, yeah, I think like growing up, I was just really blessed to have a family that would support me no matter what I decided to do. But I think I just always felt really drawn to science and like the human body, and just like a people facing sort of career, and a career where you could like really touch people's lives. And I feel like medicine just kept calling to me in that, and so just started to pursue the field. And um yeah, I think it's just something that I just feel like really aligns with what my values are. And so that just definitely helps, like even during the tough days where I'm like, why did I do this again? It's like I remember like exactly why. And that I'm motivated to do this because I want to help people in the future. And I had some like sports injuries when I was younger, and so that kind of first introduced me to like the field of medicine. So yeah, that's kind of like where I first got that like spark of like, oh, medicine's cool. Yeah.
So was like your injury, you had an ACL injury?
Yeah, yeah.
Was that one of the reasons that like locked you in to say that I want to become a physician?
Yeah, so an injury I had before that, it was a shoulder injury from playing basketball, and that was like my first experience. It was like I want to say like 8th grade or so, like meeting doctors and nurses and like doing scans, and like just I think that was the first time I felt like immersed into the field, and I just kind of felt drawn to it from then. But I didn't necessarily, I was like, being a doctor could be cool, but yeah, I think just like that was kind of the first experience. And then when I tore my ACL as well, is kind of like another sort of confirmation that this is like the type of space that I want to be in. And so yeah, I first thought I wanted to do pediatrics because both of those were in like pediatric hospitals. And so yeah, but that has shifted now. But that's kind of like what I first thought I wanted to do. So
You
yeah.
saw the kids screaming and
Yeah.
you're ready to go.
Just like the kids hospital is such like a, I don't know, the walls are all like colorful. It's just like
sounds like a pessimist.
Right. No one wants to see kids screaming. But
No,
that's why now I'm like, yeah, that maybe not.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody was saying that there were, it was like a funny way they said it, but you're taking care of 2 to 3 people.
Yeah.
You're not taking care of one person, because the parents are also, not that they're legally patients, but they're the guardians. So you have to go through 2 to 3 barriers.
Exactly.
And then you got parents who make the co-decisions together.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a tough field.
Yeah.
I think pediatricians don't get enough
Yeah.
recognition for that.
For sure.
They don't.
For sure.
People don't understand that there's really more decisions to be made.
Yeah, definitely.
Vaccines and all that kind of.
Yeah.
Name
Lots
it.
of things. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you do during your ACL? Like what happened?
Oh yeah, I was playing volleyball for our high school, and during a game I like jumped and landed on it wrong and then I tore it. So yeah, then I had to have that was during our senior year, which was a bummer.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's rough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but had to have surgery for that one too. And yeah, but now it's like totally fine.
Was it a partial tear or a complete
No, it was a
tear?
full, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And I think my meniscus was partially torn and something else. Yeah. But
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like a theme with you guys, like with you and the Mitchells. And
Yeah.
the family.
Yeah. We
Your
all
brother
have, yeah. Kasim, he also tore his ACL. Yeah. Yeah.
playing
Yeah.
soccer.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
But your youngest brother.
Yeah, that's Kasim. And
That's
then
Kasim, and then-
Jabari's a younger brother.
Yep.
He had surgery for his back for yeah. It's like
What is it?
I don't know.
Just-
We love the hospital. It's great. Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you love sports.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that's crazy to see what
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah.
So a few things, right? From
Yeah.
a medical standpoint, I would love to know kind of what does drinking through a fire hose really mean?
Yeah. So I think like during the preclinical year of medical school, which is usually like the first year or first 2 years, depending on the school's curriculum, that's like when you first are exposed to what that's like, or at least that's when I was first exposed to it. And it's essentially like, I think compared to undergrad, it was like in undergrad, you have your each individual class and there's a certain unit that you're on. And, you know, you could either like read the textbook and then like know everything you need to know for that, or like there's like a study guide. And so, you know, like what you need to study for the test and like just very like straightforward, like digestible things that
Yep,
you can
yep.
like work through slowly. But like during medical school, especially at Duke, where the preclinical curriculum is shortened from 2 years to 1 year, it's just like you are given so much information, and like just paying attention during class, like it's just like the volume of information that you get, and the fact that it's like basically all new information. Like there's no way that you can like sit there in class and like listen to what the professor says and then immediately get it and like remember. It's like there's just like all these like pathways and like things that you just like have to memorize. And you know, drinking out of a fire hose, like there's no way you can drink all of that water. And it's the same thing with like the knowledge, like the information that they give you, there's no way that you're going to know everything or most of it the first time around. I think medical school has been a lot of like repetition is like how we've been learning. So yeah, there's like a lot, like I feel like you could literally study all hours of the day and still have stuff you were not able to like look at. It's like there's like a lot of information. But I think it's more so, you know, you don't need to know it all at first. It's more so like you've seen it one time, it's going to come back up again, and it's going to come back up like in a patient situation or something that helps it like lock into your memory better. But yeah, I think it's like the pressure during first year to like, you know, stop studying, even though I don't know everything. That's fine. It's impossible to. I should like enjoy my life. And like I could keep studying tonight, but like listen, like I'd rather have great mental health, or like watch a TV show, or like go sit outside and stuff like that. So yeah.
Is it more volume, or is it more complex information while you're introducing volume?
I think it's both. Yeah. I think it's like like I think I'm trying to think back to first year. Like, I think once you get to like your clinical years, it's like you really have to kind of understand these processes and stuff. But during first year, you don't really have a lot of like that patient context for things. So it's really just like memorizing a lot for certain things. I think like some of it was like, oh, I like kind of remember seeing this in biochem during undergrad, or like things like that. But it's like memorizing drug names and like just so many medications and like different diseases that and like different genetic mutations, like just like very specific things. I feel like some of it is like you just need to spend all this time memorizing. It's not necessarily like super mentally challenging, but then some things it's like you really have to like wrap your mind around like a whole process to like get what's going on. So yeah, kind of both.
It's kind of both.
Yeah.
See, that's rough.
Yeah.
I heard it was, again, everybody's different, right?
Mhm.
Because some people are saying, yeah, it's simple material, but it's a
Mhm.
lot of volume.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's complex and it's a lot of volume,
Yeah.
everybody has their own
Yeah.
thoughts of it, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that it's complex
Yeah.
and that there's volume,
I would say not everything. Like
Sure,
some
sure.
stuff, yeah, is just like the volume of things, but it's like once you memorize it, you'll probably get those questions right.
Yeah.
But some stuff is complex.
well,
Yeah.
it's like throwing a wrench,
Yeah.
literally into the toolbox,
Exactly.
into your
Yeah.
problem. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I could see why that is a problem.
Yeah.
So how do you, going back to kind of mental health, like you talked about,
Mhm.
how do you adjust to that, right? This is the toll on you. This
Yeah.
is more than full time. This is overtime.
Yeah.
And you're going to be doing this for a good amount of years. So how do you cooperate with that? What do you do outside?
Yeah. I think for me, like coming to medical school is something that I had to like prioritize and also like remind myself to prioritize. And I'm still doing is like, I'm a person outside of this. And like, you know, I don't want to be the type of person where like this is my whole life. And so I want to kind of like find those things that I enjoy doing or that bring me joy and continue to foster those things like during medical school. So, some of those things I recently got into doing pottery. And so that has been like very new skill. And like, I feel like most of my skills have been, or like most of the things I've been learning have been like very like mental sort of things, like learning topics in medicine. But now it's like I'm learning like this physical skill of like making pottery, throwing pottery on a wheel and everything. So that's been really, really fun. I think like starting new hobbies that like you've never tried before just like works a different type of your brain than school does. So yeah, I've been enjoying doing that. I've also started playing tennis. So yeah, very casually, nothing competitive. Just like me and my boyfriend will go play and stuff. So yeah, but that's like a nice way to like just exercising in general has been like a good way to like get out of the house and like, or just like going on walks and just like getting sunlight. And then like I've started walking dogs and stuff. So yeah, I love dogs so much. And
as you saw just now, as my dog came to inspect
Bruno's
you.
Great. Yeah. So yeah, just like, and then like sports, I've been trying to get into playing volleyball and stuff too. But yeah, I think like something that's helpful to do is like before starting school, it's like, what things do I not want to compromise? Like, what do I not want to give up about myself during this process that's going to be very time consuming and taxing? For some people, it's like, I'm going to call my family like every week, or I'm going to go on a walk every day or a run every day, or not lose my artistic side. And so like thinking of those things ahead of time helps when you're like, when you just don't have enough hours in the day to do everything. And it's like, what are my priorities actually? So yeah.
Well, it seems like your priorities are to get another ACL injury. God forbid.
Listen,
because you're playing tennis and then you're doing volleyball. I'm just being honest as a friend.
Very casual. Okay, it's not like I'm not competitively and like pottery has been my main thing, and that's sitting down. So like it's all good. Yeah.
I'd rather you get carpal tunnel.
Yeah,
than,
literally. My back is hurting sometimes from it, so yeah, it's okay.
You see those dentists who like come out? They're like,
oh my
gosh, their necks because they're like,
exactly.
They got the humpback.
Yeah,
and whatnot. It's crazy.
I
have a friend that was saying that he's like, yeah, I'm starting to get neck cramps. I'm like, you wait, you can be looking close to Humpty Dumpty's coming up your alley. It's insane, man. These professions are something else, you know.
Yeah.
That was too much for. I might have gotten off too far.
Maybe a little bit.
Listen, that's the closest I can get to filtering.
Yeah. Very spot on.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to bring it back, but there's no way to come back after that one. Sorry, that was gonna be a good one to put in. So let's talk. So since we can't go back to serious mode, you know, Tell me,
Mm-hmm.
why are you so nice?
Oh gosh.
You saw that on the question
I
list
did
anyways.
see that.
But like, I just don't understand. You're so positive all the time.
Oh gosh.
And every time, I've only seen you mad once, and that was at me. Because I did do something upsetting too. That was my
Is
fault.
this the time you like scared me in the middle of the hallway?
No, I
at
have some
work?
videos. I'll post that up.
No,
too.
no, no, no. I did
I still have
not
those.
agree to that.
But you're so positive. Like
Yeah.
you always have a smile on your face, and even when you're mad, you have a
Yeah.
smile on your face, which is like you got to be careful with those people. I always say that, like, my mom is the same way as you. That's why you guys relate, because if you make that person upset,
Yeah.
you probably deserved it. Like whatever's coming your way, like let's say like you or my mom are upset at me.
Yeah.
I definitely did something wrong.
Yeah, probably.
You know, that's there you go.
Just saying.
But what is it like? You always have something to like look at, right? Like in a positive way. But how do you just keep that mentality?
Yeah.
Because this is such a weird field to be in.
Yeah.
Where it's like very easy to become negative.
Yeah, I will say like medical school has been like the most challenging time I've ever experienced, and like I have definitely had like lots of low days and like lots of struggles with my mental health during the year, like in ways I haven't before. And I don't know, I think it's important to have people in your life that you can talk to when things are not going right. And just like, you know, like therapy was something that I first started during medical school, like some sort of outlet to like someone, like a third party, someone who's like unbiased and can just like talk you through things that you're struggling with, because those things can really like build up over time if you just like keep them to yourself. So that's been something that, you know, I've been trying to work on, and I feel like something that has definitely helped me to like stay as positive as possible is like when things aren't going right, do I have someone to talk to about those things? So yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know, I just try to find time for the things that I enjoy, the people that I enjoy spending time with. And, you know, I think just reminding myself that I am a person outside of these struggles that I've been having has definitely helped me to stay positive and everything. And yeah, just like trying to enjoy life and not push. I feel like there's a lot of pressure, or like, you know, like you might feel the need to push things off until you like make it per se. And like, you know, I've even had to like stop myself from saying like, no, I'm not gonna have fun until I become like, once I graduate medical school, or once I'm done with residency. Like you can just push things off for forever doing that. And so I've been trying to like just enjoy life even now while the process is, you know, still loading, I guess. And yeah, like enjoy things even now, so that I don't, you know, get to that time years and years down the line and wish I had done more.
That's such a good point that you make about therapy.
Yeah.
Right? It's these days, like I guess, and in every tradition it's different.
Yeah.
But mental health is look like frowned down upon a little bit these days. It's better, but
Yeah.
Bringing that unbiased opinion
Yeah.
and having that third party is such a smart way to go.
Yeah.
Is that something that your school provides, or do you know if a lot of medical schools provide that?
Yeah. So my school has like they have a psychiatrist who works like with medical students, so she like totally understands the process. I didn't work with her. I worked with, my school also has like I think a lot of schools have these, it's like counseling and psychological services, or CAPS. And so I reached out to them, and it's like free services that get you involved with a therapist. And through them, those services are sometimes like shorter term, and so I wanted like a super long term sort of relationship with someone, and so they have like a referral coordinator who, like, I gave her like criteria that I wanted, and she gave me a list of people who work with the school. So the school definitely helped me out a lot with like finding my therapist. And they also, the school insurance like has heavily discounted like the cost of a copay for therapy. Wow. And so yeah, I think like finding places that actually prioritize mental health and like have things in place like that, rather than just like saying, there are services available. Like seeing those specific things that the school is doing, super helpful. So yeah, that's how I
I'm
got
really
involved.
glad that you're able to like make that
Yeah.
a normalizing event.
Yeah,
You know, that's
yeah,
so big.
yeah. It's I feel like, I don't know, just like the mental health aspect of medicine, I think is just not talked about enough. And like during my second, this is something that I tell like people all the time, but like during my second year of medical school, I struggled a lot with anxiety that I had never experienced before. And it's just like a different amount of pressure in medicine. And especially for people who, grew up wanting to please people and like make people happy and not disappoint people, but then you're getting like constructive criticism all the time, and that can really like be challenging to experience for the first time, especially if you're not like used to it. And so yeah, I had like a really hard time during my second year, which is our clinical year, like going through rotations and just like do I really want to do this? Like I just feel like I'm doing everything wrong, and like I feel dumb all the time. And then like started therapy, and it's like just realizing kind of patterns that I've grown up like thinking about myself in order to like do well, but that can kind of like, these patterns can sort of just make it more challenging on myself during these times when, I'm here to learn and I need to cut myself some more slack. And yeah, so I think I always like talk to people about my experience, and I think finding people who are willing to be vulnerable with you too, and you feel like it's a safe space for you to like share your struggles with, is super important during school of any kind. But yeah, I think like some places like sometimes in medical school, it's like people try to hide that they're struggling, and so you just feel like you're the only person who's struggling, and therefore you don't deserve to be there. But that's not really true. Yeah.
Did you apply that same theory or, practice when you were taking the MCAT?
I think it was something I didn't learn until afterwards. Yeah, the MCAT study time was just like its own like yeah, as you know, it's just like,
Yep.
yeah, it is interesting. But I wish I had learned those things like earlier on, and like learned how to give myself grace for things and like not judge myself. I think like medical school is like you're kind of being evaluated all the time for the first time, so that's kind of like when that first started to come up. Whereas like with the MCAT studying, it was like me being hard on myself and everything. But yeah, I wish I had like sought out mental health services and stuff earlier on. I think like it's always helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was it when you took the MCAT? Like, talk us through your whole, situation, because you scored pretty well.
Yeah.
Very well, actually.
Yeah. I at the time, so one thing for me was I was one of the students trying to decide like whether or not I wanted to take a gap year. And I think like the MCAT ended up being like one of the reasons why I decided to like not to go straight through and like decided to take a gap year. Because I think something I tell people all the time too is like just like not rushing the process. For me, like the first decision I had to make was like, when am I going to take the test? It's either going to be during my junior year when I'm also taking like challenging classes like biochem and all of these things, or I could take it during my senior year when my schedule is a bit lighter, but I'll have to take a year off. And some people will take like 2 years off so that their first year is MCAT and second year is application. So like really the process should just like align with what your needs are specifically. And I think I had a lot of like pressure from, sometimes like talking to people who may be practicing medicine now, but didn't train many years ago where taking a gap year was not a thing. And talking to people who know the process now and know how like it's more common, I think, now to take at least a year off. And talking to people who understand like what the process looks like now is definitely something that helped me to make that decision. But yeah, once I figured out like when I wanted to take it, when would give me like enough time to study, I figured out what resources I wanted to use. And something that was super helpful to me and I like love to talk about is AAMC, they have a fee assistance program. And so they offer, I think I can't remember exactly, but I think it's like your household has to make
28,000.
Yeah, it's like
below.
500, yeah, 500% of the poverty level or less, which is kind of like a generous sort of thing. And so, and it depends on like your household size and stuff, but yeah, it's like 500% of the poverty level or less. And they give you a discounted price on the MCAT registration fees. They give you the prep materials, practice exams, and like question banks for free, and then like lots of other things for applications for free. So I definitely recommend like looking into that. And that definitely helped me a lot with being able to afford the like materials, because it can get expensive just like preparing to go to medical school. And I didn't take like a class or anything, but just like studied with the books and did like lots and lots of practice questions. So yeah.
And I noticed that like if you're in that situation, which is favorable for us, in our situation, they give you 14 schools for free.
Yeah.
MD schools.
Yeah.
But still, hey, that's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I think at the time it was like 20 schools or something. Yeah. So you apply to medical school for free essentially, except for if you apply to more than 20 schools. And then secondary applications, schools usually charge a fee individually for that. But at least when I applied, I think all the schools, I think I applied to 20 schools and all but one waived the secondary application fee because they saw I got the fee assistance program like for the primary application. So yeah, it definitely pays off a lot and saved me like thousands of dollars.
It's gotta be like minimum. I saw somebody doing that where they applied to like 22 schools. And they saved about, I think, $4,000, something like that.
Yeah.
For medical school, just applications.
Just to try to get in. Like
that's insane.
It is. I don't understand why it's cost so much to just like get there, and I think that's like a big barrier for a lot of people. So yeah.
You used UWorld as well, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I'm mixing it up now with like med school stuff, but yes, I did use UWorld at that time.
Was that pretty helpful?
Yeah, I thought it was super helpful because what they do is after you answer each question, they have like a mini lesson at the bottom, like explaining first of all like why the right answer is right, why all the other answers are wrong, and then like this is the topic that we're testing you on. And like it's just like I think it was more helpful than reading textbooks, at least for my learning style. And it was just I think doing practice questions as early as possible is something that I've been learning is like super helpful. So yeah, UWorld, and then like the full length practice exams from AAMC as well were super helpful.
Which is nice because a lot of those resources other than UWorld is free, are free.
Exactly.
Another one was Khan Academy. I don't know if you ever...
I watched a couple of videos, and they were always like really helpful with the topics that I just like could not
completely
get.
Free resource. And they have questions.
Exactly.
Which are which were complicated, just like UWorld.
Yeah.
But obviously free resource, you'll take it.
Yeah, definitely.
What was your score, if you don't mind me asking? I got with that.
Yeah, I got a 513 on the MCAT. So yeah.
You couldn't score high enough?
No.
You just
it's really going enough for that 528 like perfect score. No. I was very surprised. Like I was like, well, I was not expecting this, but yeah. So
you're expecting a 528.
No. It's like if I just get like a 500, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be okay. So yeah.
To break it, right? That's what every med student wants.
Exactly.
Just break the 500 and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, I've met some people who got like 498, 492. I met somebody and they got into med school.
Yeah,
it's
honestly,
different.
Yeah. So. I know some people like that too. It's like, hopefully schools that you want to go to are looking at you as like an entire person and not just a score. And I think that you know, so many people have made it into med school without stellar scores, and it's because they have so many other things to contribute.
That background really makes a difference.
Yeah,
whether
for
you're
sure.
like an EMT or started your own business,
for
you
sure.
never know, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Going back, so it's seems like the MCAT is a good resource, right, from what you got. And I think a lot of people can be of use to that.
Yeah.
Now I heard something. Help me explain. In this. I heard some people are now taking like not a few years, like maybe a semester off from medical school if they're in like their second or third year. Have you ever heard of that before?
So it's a little different at Duke because our third year is a research year essentially, and that can look like many different ways. So for me, I'm staying at Duke and doing clinical research for this year, and then I'm only taking 1 year to do so, but lots and lots of students take 2 third years at Duke, and like you only pay like a few $100s for the second third year or something like that. And so like students who are doing like lab research where the results don't come super quick and you might need 2 years to like get a paper published, or some people will do like another degree. So some of my friends are getting their MBA, and that takes 2 years. So they're going to graduate in 5 years total instead of 4, but they're going to have an extra degree. Some people are doing like an MPH. I think you can do that in 1 year and still graduate in 4 years, but I think they recommend doing it in 2. But so yeah, at Duke, like people do lots of different things, and lots of people take like 2 third years. But I have heard about like at other schools, like people just like take time off, and I don't know a whole lot about that. Like I know that people will like take time off if they are having like, if they're struggling and, you know, need to just take time away and like come back to school later on and everything. But I think I've heard that it's starting to become more common to just like take time off during school, or like take time off to do research. But yeah.
Which is so interesting, right?
Yeah.
You would think that you would just go 4 years.
Right.
But it could be a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, like I had one friend and he was saying the same thing. He's like, yeah, I'm taking next year off.
Yeah.
Which I was like, what do you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's not how that works, my man.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, no, school lets you. So, but it clearly is different.
Yeah. Different places do it differently. But from my understanding, it's like especially once you get into medical school, if something is going on in life and you just like need time off, most schools will just like, they want you to succeed and like want you to be well and like, you know, be okay mentally. And so they will work with you hopefully in order to do those things. So that's what I hear about most schools. Yeah.
And you know, unfortunately medical school is also a business. Yeah. Just like anywhere else. Yeah. Right. So they put a lot of money into you as the medical student, so they can't really afford to just let you go. Yeah. So that's why they are very welcoming in the sense of it's a good thing, you know. Yeah. That's the pro to it, right? But which is great. Yeah. To spend money on, or be able to spend money on a student. Yeah. And let them go on from there. Yeah. Which is great. Yeah. Yeah. So with the time that we were talking about of just like taking your time genuinely, how is it with like a relationship? Is it difficult to have a relationship? I know everybody's different. Yeah. In your situation, you know, how have you noticed to balance the time? Yeah. So I think it's definitely, it depends on the person and like what your priorities are. So my boyfriend, he's also in medical school too. And so we have been able to go through this process together and like support each other in it. And I think it's been helpful because we kind of both understand like what this process looks like. And, you know, when things get super busy, like I think communication is one of the biggest things in order to like make something like a relationship work during like med school or grad school. And just the person doesn't have to be in medicine in order to understand that, you know, I might be too tired to like see you until the weekend, or like I'm working 6 days on my rotation this week, and, you know, like trying to like make a plan to do something, like, you know, like just communicating about those things is like really helpful. It's not getting someone to like understand what the process is like.
So yeah, for me, it's been really great. And like, we've been able to support each other and like see each other grow through this process, and try to like lift each other up during this process too, and just be vulnerable about our struggles, because sometimes, you know, classmates might make it seem like everything's perfect and like they're not struggling at all. So that has been really helpful, and just for us to like communicate about when, like, what we want that quality time to look like, and when we can make time for those things during this busy schedule. I have lots of friends who aren't in relationships right now, so it really just depends on the person and kind of like what you want to get out of that time, and what you want it to look like for yourself. But I think communicating about those things is like the biggest key, in my opinion. Yeah.
So how did you guys communicate the way you were dancing at my wedding then? Because I saw some videos and you guys were lit.
Talking about
it was like,
that
did you communicate?
not...
Like, what was the car ride home like? Like when you talk to your boyfriend, like, hey man, you're too lit. It's like, what do you? It was insane.
You were dragging him onto the dance floor.
Yeah, because he wanted to. Don't blame me.
Adam, you were getting married. We were gonna do whatever you wanted to do. Okay.
Nah, he wanted to do it no matter if I was getting married or I was not. When I pulled that man to the dance floor,
so much fun.
yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you guys came. But man, that guy was lit. I'm telling you, you found a good one. When I pulled him onto the dance floor, he didn't get off the dance floor.
Oh.
The DJ was trying to tell him to get off.
That's not true. No, he had a great time. He was something else.
He was the life of the party. I literally saw a video because we're getting it edited.
Yeah.
And it was literally Romel just killing it. There's like pictures of him too. Like, no, seriously, like
I can't wait to see these.
It was funny because it was like I don't know how that happened, but it was a bunch of medical students.
Oh, what?
Like you and Romel and a bunch of other medical students, like all gathered. You guys just somehow like huddled. Like you have some type of telepathy that,
listen,
like, you know.
You could just tell, you know.
Exactly. But it was so funny watching that.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm gonna have to show you some videos.
Yeah,
afterwards.
please. Yeah. I'm waiting.
I have some pictures actually. I might show
great.
You afterwards.
Yeah.
All right. Another thing that I have to pick a bone with you on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Well, this is something that I just went on the record.
Yeah.
Is very important. But you were my good friend for a while. Sorry. Good best friend, I would say. Okay. My wife said that she was your best friend like before even I met you. Yeah. I met you in medical school. Yeah. Peer leading class. Yeah. Which was like the OG status. But she met you apparently in elementary school.
Yeah, she did.
But was she your best friend? Is that true? Because this changes everything now. I've been having this conversation with her, and I mean,
listen, I don't think this is the right setting to get into this.
You could just be honest. Nothing's gonna happen after this.
Listen, I will say, you can have more than one best friend.
So the answer is yes.
Listen, I would say I remember specifically it was in 3rd grade, I think, and she was one of my best friends. Yeah.
Like, I had a feeling that's what it was.
So technically she's the OG.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's like facts are facts.
You know, yeah.
I am a little butthurt right now, I want to say.
Listen, I can't make these things up.
I just want to cut this off now. But I heard the people at your elementary school were like very rowdy. That's what I heard.
So
you had some rowdy kids in your, like, from the school that I went to. I didn't have any rowdy kids.
None.
You had rowdy kids. Oh. I had a few. Okay, I had potheads, but that was different.
Oh my God.
You had rowdy kids. Okay.
I don't know. Adam.
My kids were quiet. They sat in the corner and they just let them.
Fun.
Oh, y'all had some fun.
We had ice cream parties. So I mentioned earlier that I was kind of like interested in pediatrics because that was really all that I had seen. And then like when medical school started, I was like, you know, maybe I want to do something surgical, but something that has like long lasting relationships with patients. So like ENT or like head and neck surgery was kind of, you know, at the top of my list during the beginning of school. And then I saw a few surgeries and I realized very quickly that the OR wasn't operating room was not my happy place. Stressed me out a lot. Some people love it and I can see I see the appeal.
Yeah. Control.
Yes, but it's not for me.
No.
And I was just scared of like contaminating things all the time. Like I was just, so quickly realized surgery is not for me.
Well, for people who are listening as well,
Yeah.
like surgery, you went through that too
Yeah.
from the clinic that we worked at. The surgeon or whoever the provider is very focused on that. Like they are very anal about it in a good way.
Yeah, in
They
the
have
best
to be.
way. Yeah.
That is the best way. Like they have to be anal.
Yeah.
You don't want somebody who's not very specific about how they do it.
Exactly.
So if there's like something wrong, like that ER tech, whoever's assisting them, needs to know from any angle possible. So I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, for sure.
So what are you thinking now?
Yeah, so now so during my second year, I was in a program that was like a longitudinal program, and so we spent a lot of time in different outpatient clinics for the entire year. So we got to know our preceptors really well and like saw patients over and over again, and developed like continuity with those patients. And my internal medicine clinic was with a medical oncologist, and like oncology was not on my radar at all, and like coming into medical school, but I think I just like after my experience in that clinic, and I was also, my surgery clinic was surgical oncology, and then my OB-GYN clinic was gyne oncology, so like women sorts of oncology sorts of things. And so the oncology, like cancer care space, was like something I've never seen before, and just like I feel like the type of relationship that you get to have with your patients as their oncologist is just unlike any other. And it's just a very vulnerable and challenging time for a patient and their family. And, you have to be that person to kind of guide them through that process of like, this is a medication that we're starting, or these are the scans you need to get, or this is, the surgery that we want you to have. And just like being that person for someone going through such a tough time is like something I really feel like aligns with my values. And just like the space of oncology and like cancer care in general, and like it's just so collaborative. And the medical oncologist works with like the radiation oncologists and works with the surgical oncologists. Like they all are like communicating all the time, and really want to take care of this one patient from many different angles. So yeah, I think that's what I want to do. And in order to become an oncologist, I have to do internal medicine residency, and I enjoyed my internal medicine rotation that I had a really great time. So yeah, that's the plan right now. We'll see after 3 years of residency how I'm feeling, if I want to keep training. But
then fellowship. After that.
Exactly.
I don't know how long fellowship is.
It's 2 to 3 years, usually 3. Yeah, but
3 years
hopefully
residency, 2, and then 2 to 3 years.
Of fellowship. Yeah, for oncology specifically, it's 2 to 3. But yeah, it depends on the field. But
well, you're in it now.
Yeah, might as well just keep going
you
for
ain't
the
got
rest
no
of my
choice.
life. It's fine. I'll be in training forever.
There
That's
you
what
go.
I love
Well,
to
it's
say.
better you than me.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. Again, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we can do this with your best friend, apparently. My wife.
That would be great.
We'll be talking about that later tonight.
Thought she was going to be here today. That's why I came, but sorry.
Yeah, I apologize for the miscommunication, clearly. Ouch.
Just kidding.
But hopefully if anybody needs contacting you, we'll try to get a description link going of your contacting email. Not that you can respond to it as much, but maybe.
No. I have been like super involved with mentoring during medical school, and I definitely always make time for that, and would love for like I feel like for me, I didn't have a lot of people who were in it that I could talk to about the process, and so I just like love being able to be there for other people and do that for them. So feel free to reach out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get that going.
Yeah.
I'll just need your phone number, your social security number, your passport ID.
I'll get that from your parents. I'll get your information, and we'll put that on as mine. Yeah.
My parents don't speak English. But again, thank you for coming on. Hopefully we'll get
course.
another conversation after you're done
Yeah.
with your clinical rotations,
Yeah.
and then we'll get to you in your fourth year. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Adam. Thanks for
Absolutely.
having me.